Welcome back. We're going to be looking at part 2 today of 1.3 and specifically about midpoints. The key concept is about midpoints, and we're going to talk about midpoints both on a number line and on a coordinate grid. So the first one is on a number line. So we have AB, which are endpoints x sub 1, x sub 2 on a number line. Then to find the midpoint M, what we're going to do is we're going to take our coordinates x1, x sub 1, x sub 2, add them, and then divide by 2. So let's go through a couple of examples to try this. This is an example, but it's a slightly different situation. So I'm just going to diagram it out for you. We have a couch that is 90 inches long, and they're asking us to figure out how far is the midpoint of the back of the couch from the wall. So it's the highlighted yellow part. So to figure that out, we first need to decide what we're going to use for our units. So either we're going to use feet or we're going to use inches. We'll just go ahead and decide we're going to use inches. So we would need to convert 2.5 feet into inches. So 2.5 times 12, and we would get 30. So that means that this section right here is actually 30 inches, and this section here is 30 inches. So we could think of this as adding 60 plus 90, and I get the 60 from the 30 and the 30, and then I'm going to divide that by 2. Scroll up a little, let's see. So when we add the top, we get 150, divide by 2, and we get 75, and then we'll say inches. So that was a little bit different, but it's essentially the same concept. So here we have another one. It says the drag race strip is 1/4 of a mile long. How many feet in inches is the midpoint of the racing strip? So the midpoint would be 1/4, but then cut in half. So first of all, we need to figure out how many miles or how many feet that is. So we're going to go 1/4 times 5,280 feet in a mile, 5280 times 1/4 gives us that the total race is going to be 1320. So if we think about this as a number line, we're going to start at 0 and we're going to end at 1320. We want to know what's that midpoint. So to find that out, we would take 0 and add it to 1320 and then divide that by 2. So if we do that, if we divide that by 2, we're going to get 660. So this is kind of a lot to write down. So just take a minute, press pause, and then we'll go over it. All right, we have 2 points, P and Q, and we saw on the previous video that we can refer to P as x sub 1, y sub 1, which is just a random point, and then Q is going to be denoted by x sub 2, y sub 2. So the midpoint formula here is, it looks a little complicated, but if we think about it, it's really quite, it makes a lot of sense, because what we're just going to do is we're going to take our x's, and I'm going to write this more plainly. I'm going to take the x's that are given in the coordinate points, and I'm going to divide them by 2. Well, the 2 up here and the 1 just refer to a different point. And then to get our y value, we would just add our y values that we have and divide by 2. And again, they put the 1s and the 2s in there just to represent that the fact that they're a different point. So in this example, we want to first of all denote what our x's are. So x sub 1, let's say, is 8, and x sub 2, -14, and then we would have our y sub 1 and our y sub 2, excuse me, and we're just going to add them. So I'm going to take 8 plus -14, divide that by 2, and I'll have this one to be -6 plus 12 divided by 2. So remembering our sign rules here, we're going to get -8 over 2, comma 6 over 2. So we're going to end up with -4, 3 as our midpoint. and we'll say that that's m. So here's our answer. Alright, so next one, just again identify x's and y's. So let's say x sub 1 is going to be -2, x sub 2 is going to be -8, and our y sub 1 is going to be 3, and our y sub 2 is going to be -9. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to take our x's and we're going to add them. So I get -2 plus -8 over 2. I switched. This would be 2. Let me erase that, I guess. Then we're going to go to, it would be over 2. And then over here we're going to have 3 plus -9 over 2. So when we reduce this, we're going to get -10 over 2, comma, -6 over 2. And when we reduce that, we're going to get -5, comma, -3. So that is our midpoint. So they didn't give us a letter, but I'll just say it's M. So that is the last example that we're going to do. Examples 5 and 6 are going to be done in class. They're not in the homework, but they could be considered a test or quiz question. I'm just kind of going to demonstrate a higher level of thinking and thinking about the problem a little bit more deeply. So we are done with lesson 1-3. If you have questions, make sure that you come to class and ask them, and we'll see you in the next lesson.